Okay, so I want to move now into the area of the science of Ouija, as I call it. There's a lot out there regarding the Ouija. I don't know, about a year ago I watched a YouTube video with Penn and Tellers, who are magicians by profession, but they're debunkers, and they did a little couple of videos on Ouija and debunking and explaining the science behind what is really happening, rather than what people have been led to believe about the Ouija. So I decided I'd film a few parts of those Penn and Teller, and intersperse them and give in my video and give commentary on my point of view, my understanding, and my journey from where I came from in relation to Ouija and the Ouija principle. And at the end of the series, towards the end of the series, I will show how I've developed that principle into a communications tool, which does nothing more or less than give a confirmation to the aspect of subjective personal reality, thinking with the more objective reality that we share, life on Earth, in your neighbourhood, etc., etc. So, without further ado, I will start this off. So, here we go.
Between ourselves and the other side.
This is the world we all live in. Physical world, physical reality. But underneath, this is like a window. I'm Sean Poirier, High Priest of the Salem tradition of witchcraft. Our hands are here on the sphere. Their hands are coming from here.
Okay, so where I'm coming from, and this is when I first decided to make a Ouija board and commune with the other side. That was where my understanding about Ouija boards were at. That's how I've been brought up to understand them, and they were considered a tool of the devil or of evil within religion and Christianity. So at this stage of my life, I had, of course, moved away from those dogmatic aspects, but I still had belief systems about in relation to what the Ouija board was all about. Now, here in this country, New Zealand, Ouija boards aren't even in toy shops. They're not really something that's a part of the culture. In America, it's different. And so that understanding must have come from America. My understanding about it, and that thing must have come from the American, watching movies where basically New Zealanders are basically Americans in the sense that we're allies and we listen to we're interested in what happens to America. A lot of the media, of course, is all about America this and America that. We don't get a lot of other stuff, not as much. So that's probably where I got my belief systems, obviously, from what happens in America and has been happening for years, plus what was happening, or I was learning through Christianity, which in a sense is also the type of Christianity that I grew up in. Could be, well, it was more English really, but when I converted to Christianity and later on started to go to churches, I went to Pentecostal churches, and that is definitely American Christianity. So when I just woke up one morning and I decided, that's it, I'm going to make a Ouija board and I'm going to use it to communicate with those who have passed on, who have had their lives and died, the afterlife, the spirit world, right? So, and my reasoning was that I can't make sense of the land of the living, this side of the black stump. People just don't want to go places that I was going, and I guess there was a need in me to communicate with something that would be at this that would want to go there. In a sense, I had no idea whether it worked, but in a sense, I had no doubt that it would too. So the first one I made, I'll just show you here. I put it up in the window. When I woke up that morning and decided that's what I was going to do, it was like I had information how I was going to do it. I was going to do it on a mirror, and the mirror being symbolic, because it's, in a sense, when you look in a mirror, what are you seeing but at least an outside version of the self, the body, the human body. So I decided that's what I was going to do, and the mirror there, as we can see it there, you can see me here in the mirror with the camera. That is the first Ouija device I made. Now, I didn't call them Ouija devices. Maybe I did to begin with, but I called them Universal Intelligence Communications Devices. So they definitely were communication devices, and it definitely was intelligence. I'll get to some stories of that now. As you can see, there's colour in that. The original was just white. I've etched the back of the mirror out with a etching tool, and basically the original device didn't have all that mess of symbolism in there. It had the alphabet around the edges here, and it had that I, and it had these lines, and it had the vowels in here and the numbers. So that was my original communications device, Ouija device. I've made a few more since then, but as I've said, I've developed the science to another level, in a sense. And I want to share what I believe, or I don't believe it, as I understand it, what is occurring, what is happening with the Ouija, in science, using science rather than belief systems.
Boards, the tarot cards, the crystal ball.
Well, they'll never get rid of the witch stigma here, because 20 innocent people were executed for witchcraft. Now it's a multi-million-dollar.
Tip either. Well, ain't this just the perfect setting for a spirit board seance by a coven of commercial witches? They must be genuine. They brought their official witchy candles in genuine black bathrobes.
I, Sandra Mariah Power, do summon, stir, and call up the spirit of Bridget Bishop.
And take a good look at the spirit board they're using, because it's not just any spirit board.
I believe that the operator is like a musician and the board is like the instrument, and therefore the quality of the board can actually affect the outcome, which is why I prefer to use crtique.
Critique! Great name. A perfect blend of death and them all.
We just started talking about all the different boards and kind of thought we could come up with something better.
I was the concept person who helped to gather the ideas for symbols and such that would be relevant to the product. I built the website, which has been greatly successful. It was featured on television many times.
So we're going to give the Ouija board a run for its money.
Oh, how convenient. These folks just happen to be selling the spirit board they're going to test.
It's sold on Amazon and ToysRUs.com. It recently topped out one of the biggest selling board games on their website. And so we take that as a really good sign that it's pretty successful.
I had no idea you could purchase witch supplies at Toys R Us. No wonder Christians are pissed. crucifixes should be sold there too. We're told anyone who buys this spirit board can use it to contact the dead.
The board serves as a catalyst and a tool.
Okay, so in that segment, we see plainly how Penn and Teller are focusing on the money aspect, the motivation, really. This particular group of people in Salem, they're high priestesses and priests and what have you, but it's all costume. It's all. I'm not saying they don't believe what they do and they don't believe in this stuff. That's quite obvious they believe it, but to the degree that it makes money, then they follow a certain predictable, debunkable pattern. And to be fair, they're not alone in this. There are any number of institutions who are focused on getting people's money and making money from people's belief systems. And people like Penn and Teller and Randy, James Randi organisation, these are magicians who are into debunking these type of charlatans because, they say it's because they don't see that it's fair that people are being taken advantage of by these obviously bad belief systems, bad organisations, etc., who are really only taking advantage of people's fears and beliefs to make money out of them. And that's fair enough. So is the debunking process in that sense working? Could be, in a sense, it's helpful, but also we must also see that the organisations, James Randi and magicians, that's their job, their profession, but in a sense you're not able to debunk magic because they're tricks. There's explanations, scientific explanations behind those tricks. A lot of them, of course, is not verified because it's a secret, and to tell the secret is to take bread out of the mouths or money out of the wallets, or potential money out of the wallets of these performers and entertainers. It's what the people want. In a sense, it could be argued then that why debunk other things, because it's what the people want, isn't it? It's their money, let them spend it on what they will. But I think the general argument against that is that it's not healthy for society as a whole to have these belief systems working in and affecting society, your communities. It's a bad thing. It's a negative thing. It's not a good thing, ultimately. Whereas magic, being entertained, that's what the people want. They want to see airplanes disappear and people sawn in half and all those other things, which are not. It's not magic. There's nothing paranormal about it. We are told. We're not given the evidence because the evidence cannot be given without the trick being shown. So therefore, and once everyone knows the trick, there's no entertainment value. There's no way to make money. So it's a carefully guarded secret. Interesting in itself. So we'll carry on. Well, I must say though that yes, the costume that these people are wearing and the board they made specifically to sell under the heading that it was it's the ultimate board. Anyone can use it and it will work.
We asked you to make the board a bit more interesting by having our witches perform their amazing feat while wearing blindfolds.
That would be like asking a blind person to paint Botticelli.
Spirits that come through to the Ouija board need everything of what is called the medium. They need the energy of the hands, the sight of the eyes, the hearing. All of these bodily functions are integral. You have to use your eyes because you're looking at the letters. If you were blind, you wouldn't be looking at letters, you'd be looking at the Braille alphabet.
Botticelli, bodily functions, the Braille alphabet. You could just say no.
Yes, indeed, you could just say no. And that's a good point. I mean, why use these other reasons why you can't be blindfolded and do the same thing? The medium, I'm not suggesting that the medium isn't necessary. Of course, you've got your mind, your eyes, your ears, your hands, etc. I mean, if you're wanting to get a message and if you're wanting to communicate on any level with any person, living or dead, communication, you need that kind of you need all of those medias. But in the case of what Penn and Teller are trying to do is say, if this works, we ask a question, then it should go of its own accord, this pointer to an answer, which is a scientific way of looking and measuring and evaluating the claims that people apply to the Ouija principle.
Could the ghost of Fred Mertz be contacted via spirit board? Our three unbiased volunteers, CJ, Robin, and Nairi, were ready to find out.
The last time I did it was when I was a teenager, and a lot of crazy things happened.
I just hope we have some fun here, and hopefully we can break through.
Oh yeah, bring it on.
The spirit board works for anyone who tries it. We checked.
The board serves as a catalyst and a tool.
It puts people in the right frame of mind to make contact.
You can use the board and have no training, is what I'm telling you.
I've never had someone say they couldn't get it to work.
Great. Let's go.
We'd like to contact the spirit of William Frawley. Is there somebody here? You may have to get used to the board. Are you here?
Yes.
Okay. Where would we know you from?
G. B.
Sweet juicy Jesus, it's working! And unlike the selling witches of Salem, these three have nothing to promote or gain from their success. How can they be getting results?
Ordinarily, when you move a hand, you're consciously aware that those hands are moving. But with the Ouija board, you're not. And that's called an ideomotor response. Lauren Pankratz.
Okay, so we hear the word ideomotor response. That's a scientific explanation for what's going on, or at least the label for the heading for the explanation. It is almost an involuntary or an unconscious. You are moving the pointer to the specific places that you want it to go. It's a suggestive thing, it's subconscious. This is the scientific evaluation of that principle, why it works. Nothing to do with anything to do with the afterlife or the spirit world. It's all quite explainable. Now, when I first started using Ouija myself, I didn't know of any of these scientific explanations, the ideometer reflex. I didn't have that knowledge, so it wasn't a part of the process that I was going through in learning about Ouija, more importantly, and what I learned through the communication process using the Ouija principle. So we'll have a look now at the blindfold test.
We thought we'd check to see if the spirit board would work if these participants couldn't see what they were doing. Oh yeah, one more thing. Without our volunteers' knowledge, we turned the spirit board 180 degrees. After all, that shouldn't matter to the spirit of Fred Mertz.
Was Hollywood at its height when you were alive?
Yay? There's no yay there.
Would you still like to be alive? Yeah.
Whoa! Their hands are just going back to the spots where they think the words are. What a surprise.
Well, what happens is that the individual's expectations continue to operate if they don't know that board has been moved or the letters rearranged. So the expectations have the result of the person going right back to those same letters, those same patterns.
You know, the human mind is a wonderful thing. That same tool that we use to find a vaccine against polio can be fooled by 50 cents worth of cardboard and plastic. That's what keeps witches in business, and that's what sells.
So there we have it, the scientific explanation for why the Ouija works. It's for the sake of business. But is that scientific explanation thorough enough? I don't think so. Back through my own experience, I know that there's more to it than that, and I'm going to show and explain in this series. So I'll leave it at that now. This is part 1, and hopefully you continue to watch part 2. The link will be down there. Thank you.